Welcome back. Well, it seems like so many of us are hearing more and more about food allergies, and you or someone you know may be experiencing a problem with them. And here to tell us more about food allergies, proper diagnosis, and some of the symptoms, we're pleased to welcome Dr. Priya Warrior from Family Allergy and Asthma. Thank you for being back with us.
Thank you, Christy.
You know, we're chatting during the commercial break because I have a child with food allergies, and we were going through kind of our story of where we've got to where we are now. And so many families, it seems like you hear, are dealing with it more and more. What are the statistics on food allergies?
It's so true. Actually, in fact, of people that think that they're food allergic, it's about 25 to 30% of the population that actually thinks they have a food allergy. But really and truly, only about 6 to 8% of young kids under the age of 5 and 3 to 4% of the adult population is really allergic. There are a lot of people out there that may have a reaction to food that's not really an allergy, maybe an intolerance, and sometimes testing muddies the picture. People end up getting a blood test or a skin test and think they're allergic, but the history doesn't correlate. So there is a lot of confusion. I see parents almost on a daily basis that think that they had an allergy and they didn't. And sometimes also too where, you know, they didn't know that they had an allergy and now that we're diagnosing them. But it goes both ways.
And it's good to find out for sure what's going on, because as I can attest, if you are trying to eliminate something from your diet or your child's diet, it takes a lot of extra work. So what's the importance of getting the right kind of testing, and how should you approach that?
That's so true. As a mom, really is how it started to bother me first when I would see these things. But as a mom, I know how much it takes to try to make sure your child's eating well, and then when you have to make sure a certain protein is not in their diet or certain foods not in their diet, that's an added trouble. Well, then now you're doing 2 or 3 or 4 foods. It is impossible to feed a child healthy by that point. And then, so what you really, and I really feel with the parents that struggle with doing that. I, in fact, have a family friend who was going through that. But then, sitting down with an allergist, I think, is really crucial, because the history is a big portion of whether or not you really have an allergy or not. The testing is not 100% reliable that we have today, that medical science has. It can be false positive and rarely falsely negative too, but mostly false positives are common. So the history, the skin testing, occasionally blood testing, all come together to kind of form the puzzle, and that helps me diagnose if someone has a food allergy or if it's just an intolerance that makes them feel miserable but is not life-threatening. And last but not least, if it, at the end of all of that, if it still looks kind of confusing and mom and maybe even I, we're not sure, we proceed on with an oral food challenge. I tell them, bring on that food, let's sit here in the office because it looks like they're not really allergic, and then we let the child consume it in increasing amounts in my office. Oftentimes it just shows us, you know, they were able to tolerate it all along.
And one of the things that we do need to point out is how to recognize an allergic reaction. And we have a graphic here with some of those symptoms that folks do need to look out for and get medical attention. Tell us about those.
Of course, and it's important to know, because if you really have an allergic reaction, that is life-threatening. It is something that needs to be looked at with as much seriousness as you possibly can. Most reactions are very visible. They're on the skin, the red rashes, hives, blotchy, red spots that itch really bad, sneezy, runny nose. But the more severe anaphylactic reactions can come up with breathing trouble, vomiting, diarrhea, a feeling of feeling dizzy, passing out.
So those are all things there that you certainly want to get medical attention for and learn more to get the right diagnosis. Well, wonderful information. I've been looking forward to having you share that with us as a mom as well. And if you want to learn more about Family Allergy and Asthma, the services they offer, and get testing for you or your family to find out what's really going on with possible food allergies, you can get more information at their phone number or website there at the bottom of your screen. Thanks again for being back with us.
Thank you, Christy.
We will be right back with a check of your forecast and word of some more snow, but not nearly as bad as we've seen already, right, Mary?
That's right. We will see some more snow heading our way later tonight and into early tomorrow. We could see anywhere from a dusting to maybe an inch of snow, but it's the timing that is the main concern. I'll show you that full forecast coming right up.